Okay, Soundwave, don't fail me. Get the piggies. Get those piggies.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the outtake of the Underbase, where
Okay,
we would have started today's program. But as you can tell, one of us is a little
I'm
busy.
obsessed.
How's it going, Nicole?
I'm kicking butt with
hey.
Soundwave.
What are you up to?
I'm playing Angry Birds Transformers, and right now I'm bringing in Bumblebee Bird, and he just destroyed the place, which is awesome. Because now I could get some more gold coins. I need those coins so I can upgrade. Come on. Die, piggies, die. Oh, I'll get that little raft right there.
In terms of outtakes, this is probably the least funny one we've ever included. Amy will just be deadpan just going.
Oh, stupid missiles! Damn it! I'm a freaking washing machine.
They have no mercy.
Okay, okay, bring in Bumblebee Bird again. He'll help me take these missiles down.
The
This
tension is unbearable.
This is supposed to be an easy level, and missiles are coming at me like no other. Stop it! I'm stressing out here.
No pressure. Everyone's listening to you. You can't fail now.
Dang it! I'm a washing machine again. Where's my shield?
The best thing is, people that haven't played this game have no idea what you're going on about.
Now I'm getting sucked. I got hit by a mortar twice.
Oh,
dang
dear.
it! Come on, Bumblebee.
Are you still alive?
I am.
How many hearts?
I still have 3.5 hearts.
Oh, that's not too bad. You can do it.
3 because it just got hit by a mortar again. Why is a washing machine? I don't like these things. Okay, am I at the end? I'm at the end! I made it to the Whew!
And that is the end of our intro to the show. Thank you for joining us, people who are now switching off. And we will continue on with the review. I'm definitely switching off before the advert comes up.
Got you $1.
Transmission is go. Underbase is live.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Underbase. My name is Adam88M, and thank you for tuning in with your glorious ear holes to the adventures of Angry Birds. Yes, our faithful heroes are battling the pigs on Piggy Island, and as we saw in the first crossover issue, Angry Birds Transformers, there seems to be other stuff afoot as well, of a Cybertronian nature. Now, I'm not alone in my review this week. Admittedly, we did start off with 2, but we've lost 1 to the passages of time and RID, so I'm left with a faithful chum. Somebody who has recently joined the flock of Angry Birds players online, and she is completely unaffected by this transition.
Unaffected, yeah.
Hello, Nicole.
I've lost sleep over this stupid game.
How long have you had the game?
A week.
How badly
tomorrow.
Have you been infected by it?
As of right now, I'm up to level 58.
There will be outtakes of this, but I have a horrible feeling that even whilst we're talking, even though she's upgrading a character and waiting for Ultra Magnus to gain that extra level, I have a feeling that her attention will be divided, folks.
You wouldn't know because I have it on mute.
But
you might hear something like.
It's gonna be a swear word and then something about refrigerators, I'm sure.
I have already done that several times.
So we're back, barely, with issue 2, which is the Age of Extinction.
I love that title.
After a confluence of mishaps, too mind-boggling to deeply ponder, the egg-spark lands on Piggy Island and begins changing everything that touches it, including those furious fowl we all love to sling and the pigs we vilify. A state of higgledy-piggledy ensues. Written by Mr. John Barber. Art by Marcelo Ferreira. Colours by Nicole. Mike Torres gets a flat credit. Letters by Mr. Sean Lee and edits by David Hedgecock. And we have two covers. The standard cover is red and the Autobots looking heroic whilst egg-shaped robots rise behind them and the Deceptihogs brick themselves. Art by Marcelo and colours by Nikos. And the subs cover, which is the birds and pigs battling away in classic Transformers style. Art by the mighty Casey Colour and colours by that gorgeous being of a man, Jean-Paul Beauvais.
John Paul is just nothing but trouble.
He is a wonderful
and I
human
love
being,
him for it.
but
He
he's
is.
the best kind of trouble.
I love that man. He's awesome.
So, Nicole, which is your favourite cover?
I actually picked up both of these because I enjoyed both of them, but I'm reading from the subscription cover. I think it's really cool. You've got Megatron and Prime in the classic stance. I still like the standard cover because it's kind of like a Mars Attacks kind of thing. And everyone knows I love Mars Attacks, but I really like the colors, how bright they are on the subscription cover.
Yeah, the subs one, it's really popping.
Yeah.
It's a shame, actually, because that should be the standard cover, because I think that would really get folks' attention in the shops.
I like that, too. It's just right up there.
And Casey, as well, has paired up the characters. So you've got the Ultra Magnus and Galvatron character together. You've got B and Starscream, obviously from the movies, they've had the animosity. Megs and Prime, and then Grimlock, just kind of like doing a funky dance. He
does do a funky dance in the game.
He does, and he winks. He has power eyebrows that Rung will be proud of. But I gotta admit, I actually like the standard cover a little bit more. I think maybe not the colours, but I just like the whole framing thing. And Red looks wonderful. He just looks so happy to be there. RC looks deeply sarcastic about the whole thing.
I love it too. Like I said, I like both covers, so I picked up both. So
let's go. People, pick up both if you wish. Yeah, sales is always a good thing. So, Age of Extinction. We start off at the X-Buck, and the rest of the birds reacting to the mysterious object that two of their number have been affected by. They've been transformed. The laid-back Hal, as you remember from last issue, is now the savage and monosyllabic Grimlock bird, and Chuck is Bumblebee bird. You know, forget the fact that they look like robots. Forget the fact they look like they have different personalities. It seems in this comic, in this world, the fact that they have limbs is the biggest issue.
Yeah, they're just like
the pigs and the birds. And apparently limbs are quite disgusting things.
They can be.
It's quite odd. But the Autobots seem a little bit more hellbent on getting the eggs back than the birds were. Maybe it's linked to them touching the X-Buck.
Yeah, actually, that's true.
And unfortunately, as well, it does show this personality takeover. So we're talking about, like, for instance, it's not Hal, it's Grimlock Bird. And they've taken on a big chunk of their personalities. It shows because Bumblebee at one point really patronizes Red. By tapping him on the head as he's floating.
Oh, you're so sweet. Kind of like, ah.
Nobody's named after their feathers. And Red's about to he's about to smash him right there.
I love it. The thing is, the expression in Red's face right there is awesome. It's so fun.
And this is what I think we're going to get this all the way through, because with the birds, and maybe with the bots later, but mostly with the organic creatures, you get the artist is kind of giving you all these sly nods and winks all the way through. This is still a kid's story, but for somehow it just feels a little bit more focused in the second issue, and a little bit more aimed towards an adult audience. because the amount of sarcasm in here is just immense.
Oh, I know. Especially with people that have been fans for Transformers that know the personalities of the robots. John Barber's nailed it. And, and it comes out just in the first few pages, and I love it. So
we're not going to go through all the little nods and digs because there are some.
There's so many, and yeah.
However, Grimlock, the Grimlock bird. I just want to call these Grimlock and by their actual new name.
Yeah.
So Grimlock loses patience with the birds because they're trying to discuss the situation. He wants to get on and find the egg spark, and he decides that these birds are no help to him whatsoever, which is quite hurtful, especially to the Blues, who Hal had a very strong relationship with. And to show them just how powerful he is, he transforms. Now, if John has told us anything in this comic, it's that first transformation is a tricky business. You can sometimes get it wrong.
Well, in all fairness, how would you manage it? The first time you've ever transformed. I would like to see that, maybe down the line, in maybe the other comics. The problems with the very first time they transform. What happens?
Well, actually,
here's your answer. So
we've had it.
We have?
We've had it in More Than Meets the Eye.
Are you talking about Rum?
No.
No.
Answers on a postcard, people, to the person who had to relearn how to transform.
Why am I not remembering this?
The pause is I can hear people like screaming the answer
I know,
which is hilarious because they're probably on public transport. Anyway,
I apologize, people.
So, Grimlock attempts to turn into his alt mode, which, if you've played the game, is a bitching little motor. But unfortunately, he doesn't get it quite right in the first time. He actually ends up looking like the Pope with a wheelbarrow. with complete with comedy pretty flower.
I like the flower.
He looks so upset as well. He looks quite ashamed, it has to be said. And the Blues don't take the mic, but he spurts fire and decides to charge off.
Let me just the artwork in this, the eyebrows. The eyebrows are awesome. In this artwork. It's so there's so many expressions and stuff. I love it.
This is the thing. And I'm not now just like taking the mick or pandering to oldies-timey fans here, but this is Death's Head eyebrows.
Oh my gosh.
Using them to real effect. And if you've played the game, Hal does have very animated eyebrows. They are part of all of his sequences. And yeah, here it's just these beautiful deadpan expressions. And the Blues as well, as the Blues and some other characters we'll see later are used as this kind of Greek chorus. So they will have a conversation with themselves, which is either mocking, taking the mick, or just something about a situation that's going on around them. It's the Blues for the Autobots, and it's the Minions for the Deceptihogs, as we shall see later. But, so, Hal Grimlockbird has charged off, which, is not a great thing. And the rest of the birds contemplate their situation. And Bumblebee Bird tells them that really, in order for them to match up to the Deceptihogs, they are going to have to become Autobots themselves. And, they all ponder this, and Red thinks about this, and, well, everyone else just charges off ahead of him and hits the object, with Pink leading the charge.
That's so RC.
It's so RC. And there's a big flash, and where there once were birds, now stand warrior robots. And
I love this page.
I almost wish John had really taken the mick, gone for the end of chaos, and given us a completely white blank page as a build-up. But what we get now is the next best thing, because as anyone who knows the old 80s comics, when you got a new group of people, the first thing they would do is start furiously reciting their tech spec introductions. And not only do they do this, but they realize they do this with Blue in the middle, just going, "Why are you talking like this?" So, from left to right, Bubbles becomes a G1-esque jazz, sounding like a radio DJ within seconds. Bombird becomes a sizable movieverse drift, who's, let's face it, just out of place as his Cybertronian form was in the first issue. Blue becomes a 3-person combined.
This is where I was just like, this made me so happy. Combiner blue streak with the bluebirds. Like, oh my.
It's not even like properly combined. It's like their kneecaps.
I know. This gag is really wearing thin, he says. I'm like, oh God.
Oh, one of them's like, "Can we stop now?" And they're just talking about the tech specs. I'm going to jump ahead of the best one, and we'll move on to Heatwave, because
Yeah.
now Heatwave will be I think a bird of very limited actions. He's not exactly the most expressive. Who's he play? Is it Terrence, isn't it?
Yeah, it's Terrence playing Heatwave.
It's Terrence.
Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, in this splash page, I don't think you can see Terrence's eyes. Well, you can see his eyes, but you can't see his pupils. So he kind of looks like a zombie.
I think he's still got a lot of smoke coming from him, it looks like. I think he's still in the middle of transformation. So
Okay, that could be it. But yeah.
He's a bigger bird. It takes him a little bit longer.
Nicole, tell us about the best one.
Oh, RC here. She looks like she just stepped out of the page from RAD. She looks beautiful. Love it.
She looks amazing. And her power. She says, "But since we're here, and since the eggs need us, I'll rely on my endless patience, and I'll dictate the most advantageous course of action. It's RC crossed with prowl. I so desperately want her. Please, John, please make her flip a desk. Please. I'll do anything."
That would be awesome. I wonder where they get a desk in this universe, though.
Maybe one of the blocks.
Oh yeah, or maybe one of the egg sparks.
Yeah, that could be it.
Yeah. Oh, that would be awesome. But I just like that she's got. Why are you talking about it like that? Why did you just say your name there? She's like the voice of reason. I love it.
It's really, really odd. No, actually, no, it's Blue who's the voice of reason.
Oh yeah, that's Blue. I thought that was her coming from her.
Yeah. Hey, seriously, Heatwave Bird, what's with all the exposition? So the only one left who hasn't transformed is Red. And Red, it's one of the things about this comic, and we will joke about this because this is a fun read, but there are little elements in here as well which are quite nice, which are quite touching. And Red is the last one. He's also the one with a brain. And he's unsure about jumping into the X-Spark and being changed. And when he's asked about, it's your turn, off you go. And I think it's, Bumblebee Bird refers to him as well as Bird Red Droid. He goes, no, it's just Red. It's just Red. As he goes into the X-Spark. And he is probably the person with the least amount of ego in the entire bird group.
I really like this part right here. You kind of felt sorry for him. Because he doesn't want to do it, but he realizes he has to.
And
you're just like, oh.
That seals his fate, because anyone who takes on power and doesn't want it, and is worried about the responsibility, yes, folks, you can see exactly where this is going.
Yeah.
Because he goes from the meek and humble Red into dun da da da, and even the rest of the birds are like, wow.
Wow.
I am Optimus Prime Bird. And the thing is as well, he's not only got legs, but my God, Nicole, has he got quads or what?
Oh, that's for sure. He's been working out.
And he doesn't waste any time. Fate rarely calls upon us at a moment of our own choosing. But fate is called upon us now, old friends. The eggs must be rescued, the pigs must be stopped, and freedom, the right of all sentient beings, must be protected. We accept this burden with all that we are, friends. It is an honor serving with you. Now,
It's like,
Autobirds, transform and roll out! It's like, what?
come on. And he took like all of Prime's best lines and just put him right in here. And you're just like, all right, game on. Here we go.
You realize this has made Revenge of the Fallen somehow relevant to comics nowadays. I kind of don't like John Barber for that right now. I kind of wanted to forget that, but I would rather take this over that version.
Oh,
And,
I'm too right now. Yeah, that's for sure.
but they underplay this because as soon as they then roll out, Blue Streak then goes, but how do you know where we're going? And Brad's like, have faith. They're all just blindly going off, assuming they're going to end somewhere.
I love the blue streaks, the blues, their transformation. They got a little sidecar.
Oh.
Look. So adorable.
RC looks like she's hypnotized. I've just realized.
She's just, well, probably has another voice in her head. She's like, what's that?
She's probably too embarrassed to be there.
I don't know, you guys.
So, after this extended period with the birds, we're now back to the Deceptor-Hogs, and they're behaving true to form. Megatron Pig and Starscream Pig are squabbling over leadership, which is typical, and they're kind of interrupted when suddenly a large building erupts from beneath the ground they're stood on, leaving them high up in the air. Screamer bolts as soon as this happens. Galvatron, never the smartest person, decides to find out what's beneath him and punches blasts down into the roof that they're currently standing on. And the pigs soon find themselves tumbling into the inside of a large metal building. Now again, there are lots of little art touches here and lots of little things, but at this point I started to notice just how good the minions were. Because the minions are always talking about their own thing. And one of them is always staring at somebody in apparent love. And the other one looks as though he's about to cry, and one of them looks just pissed off. And it's just great. All the time. It's the shot where they're stood on top of the building. And the three little minions are together. And they're really small in frame, but they're still different expressions and doing their own thing.
Yeah, I think that the art is really very well done. It's simplified, but it's still very well done. Again, eyebrows. Love it.
Eyebrows all over the place. So we leave the hogs as they tumble down into darkness, and then we rejoin Grimlockbird. Now Grimlockbird has been stealthily tracking the pigs, using very keen skills, it must be said, and it's brought him right up to the tower, actually into the tower as he bangs his head. And you can see him banging both brain cells together for a bit as he announces to no one in particular that the tower may be a clue. Well done, Grimlock. So
I love that he talks to himself.
It's just and this page as well in particular with the art, because you've got the panels, but then you've got the nice framing device and the building on the side. And it was at this point I started to realize that there's an awful lot being done with verticals in this comic. There's a lot of pages with just pure verticals on it, and other ones where they're just playing with the frame constantly.
I really do like the layout. It does a great job, and like you said, this whole page, you could just hear Grimlock's voice talking, just like picture exactly what he's sounding like.
Now, to folks at home who've maybe not picked up the first one, and let's face it, we weren't as strong on this, and this is just me. This is not because Mikey is not here. This is because first issue, and Nicole, I think we spoke about this quite a bit, but we had that first introduction from Livier at the present day, and then we jumped to Piggy Island where it was mostly the birds. In terms of just a story feeling sort of tight and controlled, how much of a step up is it to have, for a start, no intro, and secondly, you basically just got a lot of bots. There's a few birds in there, but it's mostly about the bots now. Does it feel like a faster story or a better story, or is it weaker?
I I think it's I don't think it's a weaker story. No, because I think we're starting to see the personalities in not just the birds, but in the pigs as well. Just within a few panels, you understand who these characters are, what they're like, what their job is, and I mean, just we're only like halfway through it. By the end of the story, you know exactly who these people, I guess, people
Yeah, yeah.
are. You know, no, I think it's still very well done. I don't know. I don't think it's stepped down at all.
No, that's cool. I mean, it's amazing as well because we were talking before the recording about a character that's not in this yet, Bludgeon, who we both who has so much personality in the game. And trust me, the game is not exactly a comic. It's a game. You see
Mhm.
characters for a few seconds in an animation and that's it, and it doesn't change. But Bludgeon seems to just have this. He works,
Yeah,
and it's one of those things that he works in that game. But also, there are a whole bunch of other characters that John is now able to play with.
mhm.
And the best thing is, he's got the likes of Galvatron and Megatron together, which no comic has got at the moment. So you've got Starscream and Megs, which are always bouncing off each other. Then Galvatron and Megs, who are just having this lovely little spat all the time. And it's just great. So,
Yeah, well, I mean, even look at Soundwave here. I mean, he doesn't have amazing lines. I kind of like him because he's like G1 Soundwave, you know. He's definitely G1 Soundwave. I'm just like, oh, okay, this is cool. But
it's when they find themselves on top of the building and just really blandly Operation Elevation. It's like, yeah,
you're just like,
stating the
thanks,
obvious
Captain
there, Soundwave.
Obvious. No,
Now,
I think the characters are just so very well. John, he he's so good at what he does. You know? He could take something as simple as this kids comic, and he gives so much personality and individuality to these characters. I mean, we're only 2 issues into this, and I'm like, I like these guys.
I do like these guys. I like these guys a lot. This is a better comic than I thought they were gonna manage.
Oh,
Sorry, spoilers for the end, folks. But
yeah.
I didn't expect this thing to grow on me as much as it had.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I'd actually expected by now it would be a chore. But it's fun.
It's really fun. Oh, we still haven't got to like one of my favorite parts
Oh,
yet.
this is true. Sorry, we shall head on with haste
Sure.
because whilst everyone
Adam and I are gushing.
We're
Kind of
gushing.
like here to bring us down, I guess. to anchor us down.
Thing is,
That-
don't worry, folks. We can't take too long because how long until Ultra Magnus is upgraded?
Oh, I still got a couple hours.
Oh, okay, it's good to know.
Wait. Let me check it. I have 2 hours and 15 minutes.
There we go. Good to know.
But I still have one, two. I have 5 boards I could play right now. Wait, let me check in on them. I need to give energy to Bludgeon. I was down to 1 heart with him. Dang it.
Honestly, just.
I'm sorry.
Meanwhile, back at the comic. So whilst everyone else is squabbling away, and Megs and Galvatron do their little sort of routine, Lockdown notes that contact with the egg spark seems to have changed everything. He's talking, obviously, about the building, which is sprouted out of the ground, mimicking some of the rock formations which the landscape has. And this causes the Soundwave bird to have a look at the eggs in his hand, and he's putting 2 and 2 together, because in the first issue, the eggs touched the egg spark.
Mm-hmm.
And as we saw, and I'm sure he can see, one of them has sprouted some sort of metallic tentacle leg limb thing. But before he can actually voice his fears, the guys are interrupted. It's Grimlock Bird who leaps down Lord knows how he got up there, leaps down from the roof through the hole and tries to take on everyone. Megs has little time for such battles. He just wants his food, and he blasts the Autobird with his tank mode, inadvertently creating a tasteful doorway to the tower, but not affecting Grimlock. Grimlock, it seems, is pretty damn tough in this game.
Well, he's kind of, well, if you played him in the game, he's like the character you want because he can destroy stuff like no other.
He has electric breath. It's
love
really
it.
quite crazy. But
So I'm taking he's really fireproof because of that. That's why he's able to take on that tank.
Nicole, it's only just occurred to me, but Nicole, that panel where Grimlock is blasted and the wall behind him explodes. What's going on with Galvatron?
That's his arm cannon.
But his face.
He's enjoying it.
No, because maybe it's me, but he doesn't appear to have any head. He has a helmet, but there's nothing in it.
Oh no, I see it. It's in the comic. It's there.
Oh crikey! Okay.
Are you reading the PDF?
Yeah, I'm seeing an empty helmet, which is really freaky because he looks like some sort of ghost knight.
Oh no, it's here. He's got a big huge grin.
Okay, I'll be selling prints of the limited edition Ghost Galvatron on eBay later on, folks. I must quickly add, IDW, no, I'm not. Thank you.
You would never do that.
I would never do that. So, Lockdown Pig, at this point, has had enough. Now, Lockdown Pig, as we were aware, was the engineer. Unfortunately, when he transformed for the first time, he transformed into a lavatory, and had been stuck ever since. But with no one helping him, him stuck upside down, and his forces seemingly incapable of taking down one Autobird, he's finally had enough, and forces himself to transforming, becoming a very, very capable-looking robot. Very powerful. Who, unfortunately, looks like Mickey Mouse with a mustache.
But, okay, here's a question for you. He's got major spikes on his shoulders. Do you see that?
Yes.
He doesn't have him in the game, does he?
No, he doesn't. He's very smooth in the game.
Yeah.
He does lots of...
So is this going to be an upgrade?
And he poses as well. Whenever you do anything, he's like, I'm masculine.
Yep.
He's slightly awkward for a game about Transformers, but there we go.
Someone's going to be arrogant, right?
But this powerful Lockdown just steps up and takes Grimlock down with one punch.
I know, that's crazy.
Which is, But with a new player in the game, the first thing that the pigs do, and this is great, is that Soundwave and Meg start talking about loyalties. It's not that an Autobird has attacked them. It's that suddenly one guy has learned how to transform, so suddenly there is another strong bot in the room. And nobody trusts anybody.
Yeah.
They're constantly scheming. So, Soundwave at this point...
Again, the expressions, just in that panel that you're talking about the loyalties, all four of the cons have got some great expressions going on.
Oh, Soundwave is looking at the Lockdown and Galvatron with, like, resentment.
I know.
Megatron is sidling up and clearly trying to bond with Soundwave. Lockdown is kind of passive, and Galvatron just looks nutty. And he's nutty all the way through this. Like, he's clearly taken on a bit of the classic Galvatron, because he keeps talking as well about voices in his head through this. So he's clearly not firing on all cylinders. But these guys say Soundwave is chatting away and tries once again to mention that he has some thoughts on the eggs and what's happened to them. But at this point, the Autobirds arrive.
Spoiling the party. And if Red had any part of his soul left, he probably would have wandered in and just talked it over. But no, he's got prime power, and so he does the trusty point of doom and starts talking noble. Oh dear.
Now the Autobird,
He's definitely crying.
he's certainly been touched, though he may not have the power. He But the Autobots actually outnumber the cons, even though they're kind of slightly less used to their forms. It would be an even fight, and Red's in charge, so nothing could go wrong.
Wait, that doesn't really happen that often, does it? Usually you always have one more Decepticon than Autobot.
This is it. However, something does happen to balance the books.
Yeah.
Bumblebee Bot. Bumblebee Bot had managed to hold back on the recklessness which had infected Chuck that had caused the issues in the first issue. But his inner capacity for recklessness suddenly decides to break through in a rather odd exchange with RC, who probably wishes she'd never started talking to him. And before anyone can do anything, Bumblebee Bird decides to charge the hogs. It's not good.
This part just made me like, oh, John. I love him for this and hate him for it at the same time.
Because poor old B charges, gets walloped in the beak by Lockdown. Then, and I have to admit, it's not the smoothest of transitions, but then somehow then ends up under the foot of Megatron, who then presses down until he crushes his voice box.
Oh, poor Bumblebee.
Ladies and gentlemen, first time in a comic, and I believe it is the first time out of the 3 iterations we've seen, we get to see how Bumblebee loses his voice box to a Megatron. And with
Barbara's awesome.
beautiful, beautiful timing, as Bumblebee starts going bleep, fleep, fleep, weep, bleep. Blue's note, poor Bumblebee Bird. He can't talk. Poor us. That squeaking's going to get old fast. And you know that when he wrote that, John just sat back in his chair and went,
My job.
My job is done. You think James Roberts can bring fans to tears? You ain't seen nothing yet.
I wonder if those two do have competitions. where the comic books come out. Who had the biggest fan cry of the month?
I don't know. I think because of John's just involvement across the board, it's kind of different. But also as well, John is having so much fun. He's doing his own thing, but he's also doing this, and he's doing TF Joe. And I think especially between this and Joe, he's having a blast.
Oh, I'm sure.
But
it's one of those people that wakes up every day and like, yeah, I like my job.
And also, it's got to be said, TF Joe is kicking the numbers on everyone else.
I know. I heard that you guys saying that on the podcast.
Woohoo! People who hate TF Joe now are
you.
screaming at this podcast. How dare you like that? I dare to like it. Like I dare to like birds. Anyway.
Exactly.
Amazing. I was the one who was like, before this, it was like, we've got to keep it on topic. We've got to keep it quick and blah, blah, blah at the beginning of the first issue. I have gone so off topic so much on this podcast. It's ridiculous.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Oh, yes.
We always come back. We always circle around.
We just take an interesting route back.
Exactly.
So anyway, enough of this talk with poor old B, because battle commences. I say battle commences, but it's kind of like an odd series of events. Lockdown appears to jump at Red, who keeps talking like Prime. Galvatron just decides to drive into Heatwave, who just stands there, and he's still got no pupils, and he still looks really scary.
Terrence is the big, guy that doesn't say much, and he's playing the part still pretty well.
I love the fact that Drift is like, well done, Heatwave
nice
Bird.
Move.
Nice move of not moving. But the best one is that the two teams, the two groups of birds or creatures from both sides have the most in common, fight each other. The Blues in their combined form and the Minions.
Uh-huh.
And I don't know what the minions are trying to do. I think they're trying to bite his knees.
I think so. I think they're trying to bite what parts that they can.
And the thing is that the bot on top of Blue can at least use limbs to fend things off. But if you're a kneecap with a face, I don't know what you can do.
I guess you guys just start biting.
There'll be some furious pecking. Things get actually reach a bit of a climax. Not with a punch though. Galvatron and Megs lurch towards Jazz, and Jazz has a very wheelie-esque kind of slingshot, and he's crouched over the eggs. Now, earlier on, I think an egg had made a little bit of a splitch sound, and another limb had sort of popped out. But as Jazz is defending them, all three suddenly sprout limbs. And it might not have been noticeable before, but it's definitely now. And Jazz is completely thrown by this and starts making little cooing noises.
And it's so cute.
And then offers the small eggs some candy.
You want some candy? I like how he calls them fellers.
Oh, I know. The scary thing is that Jazz has, the last time I heard something this worrying from Jazz is in the old UK Man of Iron comic, where he tempts a kid into his car and then drives off with him.
Oh, I have not read that one.
It's very, very scary. It's on the Underbase, folks. Listen to it. It's on the Underbase Classics. It's probably the funniest classics we've ever done. Anyway, Jazz is busy. Jazz is busy cooing at the eggs, offers them candy, and they respond by opening fire. Their hand limbs are not hands at all. They are small, flaming cannons, and they let him have it in the face from point-blank range. And a very sooty-covered, smoking Jazz wonders what on earth has just happened.
You could have just said no. I love that. I love that expression. That's such a good little panel right there.
And within seconds, everything has changed. The pigs are obviously shocked at this. As Megatron says, that his lunch is running away from him. Not just running away, but multiplying. These things seem to be popping out of into existence, multiplying by the tenfold.
Yeah.
Whereas the birds just have no idea what's happening. Megatron is incensed, but Prime, being Prime, challenges him to a showdown, then and there. And even as Prime is starting with the old one shall stand, one shall fall routine, Megatron interrupts him to take a phone call.
This is my favorite part. I love it.
It's so good. Literally, he said, one shall stand, one shall fall, and Megs is just like, hold that thought. I better take this. Beep, beep, beep. Now, do you get the visual joke here with the beeping sound?
Oh, well, like with Bumblebee? Doing the whole bleep,
No,
bleep.
with the ringtone.
Ringtone. Bleep, 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 bleep. I don't,
Beep, 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 beep.
Oh my gosh.
I reckon that's it. If it's not, then I've just read too much into it.
Oh my gosh, that is awesome. So awesome. I never thought. I just like that it's an actual phone.
Yeah. It is. It's a big old clunky one as well.
It pulls out of his chest.
It's literally half of it. It's his pec. He has a pec phone. I want one of those. I'd make it really big as well. It'd be fantastic.
But it's just a matter of in like 5 years, phones are going to be that big you can't put it onto your chest.
So
I just cracked up at this part. I'm not kidding. I just like this is awesome.
It's just the expression. Megs clearly has no time for Prime whatsoever. Not even like he's not even angry. It's just like it's just not important. I need to take this call.
Like just hold that right. It's kind of like how a CEO, talks to an underling at the office. Like, let me get this.
And then as he answers the phone, it's Starscream. And Starscream is obviously worried about something. And then again, lovely panel of Megs who starts talking to Starscream. Prime is just stood there looking a bit redundant. And the little minions are staring over. They're actually quite upset over the eggs leaving. And it turns out that Starscream is frantic because these eggs haven't just multiplied. They've not just sort of like turned into a few more and run off to do something else. They're multiplying into an army. And it's not just the eggs as well. These towers are springing up all over the landscape. And the Starscream pig, who is clearly bricking himself, explains, Piggy Island is under siege.
Mm-hmm.
To be continued in the Revenge of the Fowlin or Egging 'em On.
I love it.
Right.
I love the puns. The play on words is just awesome.
Honestly, there are so many puns. I think David Sobolov is involved in this. In fact, I might send him the link to this issue, the review of it, and just say, look, dude, have a look at this, because he is puntastic. Either that or Razatron, because they love their...
Oh yeah, Razzy's good too.
So anyway, we reached the end. Thank you, by the way, for bearing with us whilst we took our random journey through issue 2.
But we had so much fun with it.
Well, I gained 15 levels on Angry Birds, 3,000 coins, and 2 crystals.
Nice.
But Nicole, what do you think of this? So let's go to the art first, because for me, this was fantastic. I bought into this from the off. There was no distraction of Olivier's artwork, which again was not, I never said was a bad thing in the first issue, but I don't think it should have been there. And for me, this all feels solid.
About that, yeah, after thinking about what you said last time, I kind of agree with you. Because I went back and reread it after I read this, and I was just like, you know what, it kind of does feel out of place. I do enjoy Olivier's art, but yeah, I agree with you. That's for sure.
And the artist as well, the artist feels, I think, more I don't know, maybe it's not a comfortable thing, but it just feels as though everything is now firing on all cylinders. And the humor as well, there's that scope to really give everything, like, make his expression as big as possible. I mean, Megatron's not just angry, he's furious. Mm-hmm. Prime is not surprised, he's flabbergasted. There's all this stuff. And then with the colours as well, which are quite pastel in a lot of the big scenes, but in the sort of the moments, the close-ups and stuff, they're really quite punchy. But
I think the artwork is just, I know this is weird saying it, but I think it's just beautifully done. It's definitely, like we said before, it knows its audience and it plays onto it with the extreme expressions, the extreme color changes. I love it.
So I'm trying to remember back now. What audience did we say the first issue was aimed at? Because I reckon it's probably notched up a year or two on this second one.
I would say so. Because I think we were talking about maybe for like the 5, 6, 7-year-old range.
Yeah.
You know, the very young readers, and I try to get Mikey to talk about, you go read My Little Pony, and he's like, no, that's not going to happen.
Well, I can obviously understand that, but yes.
But it has stepped up because there's so many things in this issue for G1ers, people that grew up with G1 like myself, that could find entertainment in it, that can enjoy it, But I could see where younger readers can enjoy it as well,
Yeah, absolutely. It's just I think the balance of aiming for kids. Mm-hmm. And having enough fun in there for adults. It's really, I think if you've bought into it, and I know this is, people have said this as well, as Adam, you always like your Transformer comics. Why is that? Well, I don't always, but when it's something like this, I am not maybe held back by going, if it's not the way I like it in a particular iteration, then I'm not really impressed. I'm very open to stuff being as experimental as possible, which is why I do a lot of these odd series. if it's done well, it's great. And this is a good example. It's definitely not your standard Transformers. It's completely different, but it knows itself and it's having fun. And I'm seeing a panel here where Megatron says, "Enough blathering." He uses the word blathering in a comic.
Well, they use like words like enough secrets, enough incompetence. Incompetence, that's definitely more of an adult word, you know?
John has gotten half a point extra just for blathering.
Hmm.
It's crazy. So, what would you give this out of 5 then?
I really enjoyed this issue. I mean, there's so many fun things about it. And I know people are going to like face palm when I say this. I'm going to give it a 4.5. I really enjoyed this one because I really enjoyed the last one, but I think this is actually a step up. It really is. I mean, there's so much fun, so many little references. The whole Bumblebee losing his voice thing, the the cell phone thing. Oh my gosh, that cracked me up. And now that I know that that's what the ringtone is, that's
Well, I don't know. I'm really hoping that is actually. That would
I
be
think
great.
it might be. It's just like I mean, the whole the good confrontations like the lockdown and Grimlock together, the whole Prime and Megatron just not caring. Yeah, 4.5. I really honestly enjoyed this. Like I said, I enjoyed last one. It's a step up from last one. So
It's going to be one of those for me where if you've read the first one and you can accept it, this one is going to be a joy. If you've not read the first one, you'll read this and it will take you a while to get the basic situation, but I think issue number 2 would still work as a first issue for people because it's always giving you exactly what you expect from Transformers. It's almost the cliched view of a lot of the Transformers, especially in Optimus Prime's case. So it's not as if you're going to be, find it difficult to get involved. And you've got the classic little things like the Greek chorus, Blue Streak, and the minions. You've got the overly bad guy, the rushy guy, the guy who's strong but not so smart. It's all these tropes, but just dressed in this wonderful little world. And there are so many little touches that we've not gone into. I mean, I'm looking at just before the cons find themselves on top of the building, and you have Galvatron rocking up with a toilet on his back, and Lockdown just being the worst backseat driver ever. And then you've got the pigs in front of them, one of whom has got stars in his eyes, one of which is annoyed, and the other one's kind of unsure. It's like, this is, and I think they're taking bets. Let me just check. I think they're taking bets on who's going to have a fight. Oh no, that's it. When Starscream starts talking, and one of them's like, "It's like everything he's saying, everything I feel."
I bet you he's the one that turns into Thundercracker.
Yes! Oh my god!
Or Skywarp.
Oh, that would be brilliant. Oh. These are now. There's one other one other thing is I read the wiki before I did this review. Chris obviously filling in all the gaps that us reviewers kind of miss, and they do mention in this as well. There's the white bird in the game, the original game. There's one angry bird which is not in this game. They make a reference to her, which I thought was a really nice way of kind of noting who's there and who's not. And if they have that sort of awareness of the game, then maybe they are going to introduce these other characters later on. And maybe that's, these 3 other minions could become other characters. It would make sense because at the moment, the Autobots actually outnumber the Decepticons. And since next issue looks like the two sides are going to have to work together to defeat what's happening with these little eggs, some extra numbers would come in handy. So we shall see. I'm going to give this, for you who wonders, I'm going to give this a 4 because it's really strong. It's got lots of fun in it. It's got lots of comedy. I have to admit it's greatly improved reading it with someone because, it's like, as we do with the Joes, when you read a good story with jokes in, like Nicole, when you've said a passage to me, I find it funnier than when I'm just reading it myself. Because we're telling each other the jokes from a comic. it
Well,
works, and I like that.
see, because I was talking to Lady Rec before, and she's like, she can't wait to get this in trade so she could share this with her kids. And I'm
Oh,
like, that's a perfect thing to do as a family. Sit down and read this with your kids because you're gonna get the enjoyment of the for the adults and the kids as well. So
and the best thing is, Amy, that you can pretend that you're not getting it for yourself.
exactly.
Because I don't believe that for a sec.
But she's got the perfect setup for her mask. Oh, it's for the kids.
You know what? If they suddenly went, next time, it's the Wreckers in bird
Oh,
form, she'd be there in a heartbeat.
oh yeah. She'd be asking for, can I get a pre-release? Can I get
So, folks, Nicole, thank you very much for joining me on this second adventure.
Oh, well, thanks for having me. I love doing this.
Sorry, I've just seen the panel where they fall through the roof and lock down upside down toilet with just his two eyes visible.
Oh, God. I mean, just every little different panel is just there's so many good things. Like Grimlock running into it is running into a building.
And Bumblebee Bird knowing how to spell the word fight. Bless him. So yeah, folks, join us back in a month, in the new year, hopefully, for Angry Birds 3, where stuff gets real. The cover looks really, really nice.
Yeah, I'm liking it.
And yeah, and looks like as well the beginning of a team up. You never know. And before we go, I don't know if Amy will have added this to the front of the show or not. So I'm going to remind you guys. We've talked about so many comics this year. And we've all done reviews. We've covered different series between us. I mean, Nicole, you've been on a bunch of series this year alone.
I have. A lot of people are dropping out, so I'm the sub. I'm the good sub.
But the audience that are listening to this, you guys at home, you've listened to an awful lot of shows. The reason you've done that is because you've been picking up the comics. Now, you've listened to us talk all year about our views.
Mm-hmm.
But coming up is the chance for you to give your views to us, i.e. it's the end of year show. So we have put out there a list of voting options for your favorite comic of the year, your favorite issue of a particular comic of the year, the best artist, the best writer, the best colorist, you name it. There's a whole bunch of questions. The link is going to be in the show notes. I'm going to be putting it on every forum that can count. If you want to jump on, if you can't find it anywhere else, you can jump on my Facebook. You probably know me, and get the link there. But please, folks, fill in the form. If you haven't read everything, doesn't matter. Fill in the questions.
You still got a favorite. I know you still got favorites out there.
If you bought a Transformers comic from IDW this year, then you bought it for a reason. So let us know. We will compile all your votes, all your views, and yeah, come the end of the year show, we will announce stuff to the world. And remember, folks, it doesn't matter if you think your comic is the greatest thing since sliced bread. If you don't vote, and a bunch of people that like another comic do, then your comic is not going to win.
Mm-hmm.
So there we go. So
yes, all your Angry Bird fans out there, go vote.
So all you Angry Bird fans, could you imagine?
I know Adam's already going to vote for the other one.
What other one?
Transformers and G.I. Joe.
I might be putting, I might be voting in that direction, but for how many categories? And besides, my vote is only one vote. So if somebody then wants to kind of challenge me with something else, then you never know. I might still end up on the losing side. But to be honest, if you vote for anyone, we will then announce them. We will obviously give them credit, and we will give all the creators credit this year, because IDW this year, 2014 for Transformers, absolute luxury of creative talent across the board.
And they've brought in so many new people, brought in some old favorites. And
it's just...
I mean, I'm looking at this list right now that Amy sent me, and I'm like, oh my gosh. I mean, It started off with Dark Cybertron. I thought that was last year. There's so much that's happened since then.
I know.
Isn't that crazy?
Insane. So anyway, folks, join up, vote, get involved, and we shall see you soon for another thrilling, exciting installment of the Underbase. Goodbye.
Aloha.
Underbase complete. Cease transmission.
Okay, you good to go?
I am good to go. I'm upgrading Ultra Magnus, and I've got 2.5 hours before that. So.
So no pressure on me. I've just got to get it done in 2.5 hours.
Well, the thing is, I need to upgrade one more, and then I could go to the next level and unlock other levels. God, I'm a nerd. So I only have one more upgrade till I can upgrade to the extra level, you know.
I love the fact that it's now at this point. It's after all these years. Now you're finally waiting on Ultra Magnus to be uploaded on an Angry Birds game, and now you go, God, I'm a nerd.
Oh, this is why I don't have game consoles, because I would never sleep.
Right.
Oh, okay. I'm good. 1 week. I've only been playing 1 week, and it's done this to me.
Right. I can see this going very wrong very quickly.
Oh.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Underbase. My name is Adam88M,